On the heels of a thrilling sold-out win against Ottawa, Toyota Stadium plays host to the reigning USL Cup champions. It's St. Louis and New York Red Bulls 2 coming up next. Another electric week, another electric atmosphere in St. Louis as the St. Louligans and St. Louis FC play host to New York. As we welcome you to Fenton, Missouri. Mike Watts along with Albert Munoz. Glad to have you aboard for this one. And Albert, when you think about a game like this, you can't help but think about past champions standing out. And for New York, the reigning champions, they've got Vincent Bezecourt, who had a terrific playoff run. He's a real star.
Sure, Mike. He's one of my favorite players so far in this season. I was calling him out skillful, technical, set-piece specialist. He's an emerging presence for the midfield for New York. Scored a couple of goals. He's on a roll. Let's see what he brings today.
In 2015, a young scorer named Christian Valesky led Rochester Rhinos all the way to the USL Cup final. He's the reigning USL Player of the Week. He's setting himself up nicely in St. Louis.
Absolutely. He's Danish. He's an intimidating presence. He's a striker. He has a goal. He has the only goal for the team. He's catching momentum. He's a player to watch moving forward.
Let's take a look at the starting lineups. We begin with New York Red Bulls 2. They do have the MVP at the upper left forward position, Brandon Allen. Who else stands out?
He'll be combining well with Florian Valot. He had a great showing the last couple of games. 4-4-2 tactical lineup for New York, looking for those creative players in the midfield, Metzger and Bezecourt. So we'll see what happens here.
3 changes for New York. Meanwhile, the St. Louis starting lineup presented by Cybergs. They make 2 changes, and they've got a lot of attacking presence as well.
Octavio Guzman, we were just mentioning how well he presented himself in the last couple of games. He's been tucked now into the center midfield role. Hopefully he'll combine well with Velosky and Dalgard up front. Hopefully he'll get a score at the end of the game.
We have champions, we have players of the year, we have coaches of the year. What more could you ask for? We're minutes away from kickoff from Fenton, Missouri. It's St. Louis and New York coming up next.
With pre-collision system, lane departure alert, and more, Toyota Safety Sense is an advanced suite of active safety technology, now standard at no extra cost on 13 Toyota models. Tested, with pre-collision system, lane departure alert, and more. Toyota Safety Sense is an advanced suite of active safety technology, now standard at no extra cost on 13 Toyota models. Tested, trusted, Toyota. Get 0% APR for 72 months on a new 2017 RAV4, or get $2,000 customer cash. Toyota, let's go places.
Best things in life are free, but you can give them to the birds and bees.
There's really only one place where the carpets are always red and the stars are everywhere you look. There's no place like Hollywood. Hollywood Casino St. Louis.
Stop living with joint pain. Take the first step at mercy.net/knee pain.
What's my favorite thing about the Fun RAV4? Has great handling. It's street cleaning day.
Welcome back to Toyota Stadium. There's former New York Red Bull player and the reigning Coach of the Year, John Wallenick, leading the team yet again, a tremendous coach out of Fordham University in the Bronx, New York, former Metro star. He's the man in charge for the reigning USL Cup champions. Meanwhile, it's the beginning of something new in St. Louis. Some call him Mr. Radosavljevic. We call him Preki. Former MLS Coach of the Year, former USL Coach of the Year, leading Sacramento to the 2014 USL Cup championship. Mike Watts, Albert Munoz back with you. What a crowd we have here tonight at Toyota Stadium as these two teams ready to go. As last year we had a sellout, and this week not far off. People still streaming in on this Saturday evening. And Albert, even in the standings, St. Louis, a team last year that at times felt like they couldn't buy a win. New York seemed like they would never lose. And right now, St. Louis has a chance going into week 4 to lead New York in the standings.
Oh, I got to tell you, this is going to be an exciting match. Both teams are riled up from the last couple of games. Both teams have some new players in the lineups, but a lot of the same core from the first season opener. So we're excited to see what they're both going to bring. We pointed out a couple of stellar players that have been on the roll, scoring goals, catching momentum. This is going to be a great highlight reel, I think.
Stoikov sending to Howe. Little space for Bjurman. He sends it wide to the right. Opportunity early for St. Louis. They send a low cross that's deflected out. And New York there to clear the danger.
Some dangerous play initially right in the first few seconds, Mike. That was a great lead up here, running up down the stream here by Berman. Passed it on to Guzman, who potentially had a nice cross and almost ended up in a shot on goal.
Ball taken away. Comes to David Najem. 4-time All-Ivy at Columbia. This is a team for New York packed with MLS talent. As Guzman takes it away for St. Louis. Howe moving backward. Long ball, long run for Tim Schmoll. And the ball belongs to Evan Laurel. New York Red Bulls 2 goalkeeper who was not in the lineup last time out for New York. They come off a defeat at the hands of Harrisburg City Islanders at Red Bull Arena. They received their rings. Ryan Mara was in goal, but it wasn't enough, as Harrisburg picked up a big 3 points on the road. And Laurel puts that, what's a windy day here in St. Louis, over towards the bleachers. Najem. Howe trying to take it back, and talking with John Wallenick this week, he really talked up St. Louis's ability to stay together, stay compact, really make things difficult for a New York side that thrives on chaos.
So just watching the first couple of minutes, I'm really going to start seeing a battle in the middle between Bazulevic and Guzman going at it here in the central middle of the park. They're going to look for possession play, get obviously their feet wet here in the first touches, open up the legs, and really get a feel for their momentum here.
And St. Louis really owning the play early on. I think New York knew going into St. Louis against this Preki coach team was going to be a difficult early go, as Valesky still moving in on Bilyeu. Valesky gets behind. He scored! The 3rd minute. The reigning USL Player of the Week already making an early pitch to be there again.
The poacher, the striker, that's what he does. He comes in, he puts pressure, and he really took the ball away quickly. He put that ball away. Incredible play by Valesky.
Valesky's second goal to go with an assist, and St. Louis leaps in front of New York. Well, that's the start the St. Louligans were looking for.
That'll get the crowd going, absolutely. Well, to make a comment on what you mentioned earlier, Mike, any player that comes in, any team that comes in playing away from home, they're definitely going to feel the pressure from the home crowd. They're seeing it now. I mean, with this first 3-minute goal, it's going to be a game changer. It's really going to set the pace for St. Louis moving forward in this game.
Laurel bombs it out to midfield. St. Louis is already holding the ball so much. This ball played over the top. It's a long run. Collected by Bjurman. Goes to his right. Guzman taking over. The former Sacramento man, and that finds its way over the touchline. It stays with St. Louis. New York likes to press as it is, but if St. Louis has the ball and New York is down a goal, that pressure is going to have to be that much stiffer early, isn't it?
Yeah, and usually you have to wait, maybe midway through the game to actually have this momentum pick up. But 3 minutes into the game, you have a goal scored. You have to definitely pick it up immediately.
Touch towards midfield. Can New York break away from St. Louis, who have owned the ball in the first 5 minutes? What a dream start for the home side against the reigning USL champions. Brandon Allen showing down the middle. Poke back by Tenari.
Interesting to see what combination play we're going to have from the two ponytailed players in the middle, Guzman and David. They look exactly alike, and they may very well seem to play alike. So exciting stuff in the middle for them.
That goal comes from Valesky in the 4th minute. New York bringing a little pressure now, knocked back by Stoikov. Here comes Sebastian Dalgard playing it wide. Howe cutting inside. Stoikov. Beyond David. Guzman. Those ponytails are real close together, aren't they?
Yeah, it seems Guzman's going to play his traditional wing position for now. I mean, I thought he was going to be tucked in more in the middle, but it seems like David is going to be taking that role.
There's Florian Velo. What a year he had last year. He graduates from college, joins the team in June, finishes up at Ryder, scores a game-tying goal in his first career game, then goes to the USL Cup final, helps lead the team to the championship title in his first pro season.
He had an amazing first goal of the season, the first game in New York. We had the pleasure to call that game. It was a beautiful goal he scored.
That was a, 3-3 draw with Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah. Exciting game.
That was one of the best games we've had in the early going this year. 3-3, and it was, it was a mile a minute in that one.
Oh, yeah.
Stoikov turning away.
Like I told you today, though, going into this game in particular, I really called an exciting game. I really feel that this is going to be two quality players, two quality teams really going at it.
So far, so good. Basulovic leads the league in passes. This one just barely finds Najem before it found the near side bench. Long ball aimed for Brandon Allen.
This is definitely a wider field. You're really going to have the opportunity to open up here and really spread balls. Kill the momentum of the game, really use your flanks. Tighter fields require you to play, short ball, touching, sharp passes, but this is going to alleviate some of that here and really spread out the game.
And here comes St. Louis again. If they can collect this ball, they could be off to the races. And again, it's Bjurman playing it up the right-hand side. He was looking for Valesky, and the two were just a little bit off.
Yeah, they miscommunicated there. Valesky wanted the ball out so he could get an in-swinger cross and potentially strike on goal.
When you're an attacking midfielder, as you were coming through the youth system, how hard is it, because Valesky is new to the equation, so too is Bjurman, to know which shoulder you want it on? It's only game number 3 and game number 4 for these two teams.
It takes time. I mean, it's communication, it's experience, it's obviously working off each other, knowing their moves, knowing their tactics. It's frustrating at first. I mean, it's a communication situation, so it's only going to be a matter of time.
Howell was stood up by Najem. Here's Schmoll. Played up by Basulovic. And it's turned over by Najem. Howe Here comes Dalgard, and his touch lets him down. Here comes Schmoll running back the other way, all 6'7" of him. He is every inch of that. You ever go up against a guy 6'7" at center back? How many of those do you see?
I once, and I tell this story probably. I'll tell this story. I went up against Oguchi Onyewu, who is, I believe, 6'5". I'm not sure. And he took a foul on me. We were in high school with the ESP program, elite soccer program. We were both obviously, try to make it to the league. He was and is a presence, and I tell you. So yes, to answer your question, absolutely.
Yeah, you've seen those guys, and you went shoulder to shoulder with giants. Schmoll there to knock it back across midfield. There are a couple of very tall players that have come through New York, that center back position, thinking back over the years. So that goes through Schmoll's legs on purpose, of course.
Mike Pecky being one of them.
He's not a small guy. Congratulations to Mike. He did a USL ESPN 3 Game of the Week last year, and all of a sudden he's the Real Monarchs head coach. And when he's done with that, he's the new Real Salt Lake coach. Meanwhile, moving upfield, Bezecourt plays it low. The response not there. And a corner coming up for New York.
Surprising run for Bezecourt on the right-hand side. He's typically out on the left flank. He's on the right, tucking in, made a cross, and created some danger here from St. Louis.
Well, isn't that what you expect from your player to watch?
There you go. Expect a lot from him, the Frenchman. It's a left footer. I hope he has a repeat attack like we did in the first game of the season. Beautiful strike.
They'll send a long piece of service. Comes down to Najem, who plays it to his left. An opportunity, the run up, the shot is knocked wide. There's Kevin O'Toole, all 18 years old of him. And it's a goal kick for David Agoric, or is it? That took a deflection, so Agoric will wind it out, and Basulovic will get another effort here.
Agoric thought he got a deflection off the opposite team, but in reality it was off his own defender. Miscommunication there on the back end.
Here comes the corner from Basulovic. That got touched and really knocked out hard to midfield. I went to go check. The player I was thinking of for New York at center back was Marcus Holgerson, who played in those mid-2010 teams under Mike Pecky. And he was 6'4". Close, close, but not nearly as big.
Average height.
Ishmael, yeah, that's right. The step over by Tenari. Metzger.
Great ball work here from New York. This is what they need to actually acclimate themselves with in the first 10, 15 minutes. Get used to the ball, get used to the field. This is a slick field that you could tell that the ball's going to obviously travel at a faster pace. It actually looks like turf, but I mean, it looks like I think it's just grass. But it's a very, very nice pitch to play on. Moving the ball around well, getting these set pieces in, just getting familiar with these attacks.
So the foul committed by Guzman, who was nearly off to the races, and New York a chance to try and respond after Valesky's 4th-minute goal to open up the contest, turning over Bilyeu and beating Loro. And this driven towards the box. It takes a few deflections, moving over Goric. And Goric will walk away with the ball. David Agoric, second team All-USL last year in Colorado Springs, played in Miami with Barry University. And history has taken him through Thailand, Sweden, Canada, and Puerto Rico, and now he's in St. Louis.
It's a world of experience, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's the whole world. Knocked over the top, and David Agoric will handle it there. And for St. Louis, a little bit of a knock this week. They found out that the MLS to St. Louis Proposition 1 and 2 votes did not go through. We talked with the team this week about it. And certainly some similarities to the St. Louis Rams in that vote. But in the end, it wasn't meant to be. And talking with the league and talking with people with the team, St. Louis is still a premier soccer market. It has been for 50 years. St. Louis Billikens, tremendous at Herman Stadium, attendance all the time. St. Louis selling out last week, and it looks like a near sellout crowd again this week. And, of course, only the city of St. Louis was involved in the vote, but one would think the county would have gotten it over the finish line. Our thoughts certainly with how the next step of this will move on, as this is certainly beyond a viable soccer market. And Christian Valesky with the 4th-minute goal, delighting fans that maybe came in a little more glum than usual at the outset. Hard to say that now. There's a palpable buzz yet again here at Toyota Stadium in Fenton, Missouri.
Yes, Mike, to add to that, I mean, a team that just scores right off the bat, right off 3 minutes in, it completely controls the game. Now they have that advantage. Now they have the confidence to know they can hold the ball a little longer to get familiar with the plays that they want to actually create. They could be a little bit more conservative with their possession, spread the field, getting that ball to key players so they could actually, take the pace of the game and slow it down. It's very important to score goals right off the bat, needless to say.
And it helps when you're up 1-0 at the quarter-hour mark. In front of a near sold-out crowd here in St. Louis, one that's taking a lot of pride right now in being the pro soccer team in this market.
Cheeky attempt there by Guzman. Exciting player to watch.
And it comes down. Here's a shot that's deflected through by Stoikov and handled by Gorick. Schmoll decided to be the wall where St. Louis would not cross. Back by Metzger.
There he is again with the ball.
Came to the United States to get an education while he played soccer. Comes from Switzerland and had a friend who ended up at Harvard, decided he'd try a similar route. And ended up playing 4 years at Harvard himself. 24 years old now, 39 in the blue and Red Bull gold. Restart for Aaron Basulovic. Just another in that pipeline from Georgetown. Brandon Allen, Alex Mule. Georgetown has been kind to the New York Red Bulls as this wound over the top. And that could have probably found Gorick on its own. We'll see how Howe can get it away. He can't. Moving ahead is Velo. Sends the service across the face of goal. And that is wide from Bezecourt.
Beautiful attempt by Velo. I mean, what a great cross. That's the type of cross you want for Bezecourt to come in.
Good first touch, winding inside. Here's Valesky again, looking for the brace. Instead, he has to widen out play, keeping it in on the end line. And no, he didn't. It's a goal kick, but how quickly St. Louis leapt out of the gate.
Exciting. But I'll tell you what, he is frustrating. He took that touch. Valesky had a much better touch in the first play, but he had a little long of a touch there. He could have probably trapped it better and had a shot on goal. So he's showing his frustration there on that last play.
Kicked away by Loro. High potential, a homegrown guy, according to John Wallenick this week. Chance here for New York. Brandon Allen scored a hat trick in the USL Cup final, a 5-1 win over Swope Park Rangers at Red Bull Arena. Finally, some Cup playoff silverware at Red Bull Arena, some would say. Basulovic. That's a creative first touch. He's going to run right back onto the ball. Basulovic tries to play it down center and didn't have the help he needed. New York really swarming the ball now, and a foul whistled. The referee is Greg Dopka. Benjamin Hall Vopenheim and Brooke Mayo are the officials on the sidelines tonight.
A lot of energy, Mike, first 17 minutes of this game so far on both ends. Both teams really trying to capitalize on connecting plays, on getting their midfielders involved. But I don't see one team in favor, other than the goal, obviously, possession-wise so far. I think they're pretty even.
And correct me if I'm wrong, was that the first foul of the game?
Yeah, it's been pretty clean so far.
In 18 minutes.
That's impressive, actually.
The header goes off the boards behind goal. If it's not the first, it's been a very quiet game. Usually you get a chance to name check the referee a little earlier than the 19th minute.
Good look at Loro here, 6'3", big presence in the back, goalie.
Out of the University of Michigan, those Wolverines. Ball comes back to Tyler David, who's back in the starting order for St. Louis. Certainly a welcome sight. 22 games played last year. Comes out of SLU. Played with the Billikens of the Atlantic 10 for a total of 79 games. Schmoll really is a load, leaning into Dalgard, who lets this go back to Laurel, and he's really done well to get that away from Guzman. David coming on, trying to strip it away, and does. Stoikov. Here comes Howe. Howe's going to give it a rip. That's up and over.
That was a good attempt, though. I mean, we need a shot on goal. We need to test our goalies this game, see where we stand.
If he hits that just right, he is the undoubted USL goal of the week.
Oh, yeah. Incredible shot. That was a good attempt, though.
How often would you try one of those as an attacking midfielder? You'd have your chances.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was always overly ambitious. Hey, you know what? Out of 10 shots, I would score a goal, and then everyone would love me. But I took my wild shots in my day.
St. Louis doesn't take a ton of wild shots in total. They've only taken 20 this year. That's good for 20th in the league, but their conversion rate is outstanding. And I suppose, isn't that really what matters?
Right. It's a numbers game at the end of the day. You have to actually attempt to shoot. If you don't shoot, you can't score, right? So, good for him.
And that is 10 shots a game. It's still good. The fact that they've played one fewer game than many other teams at this stage weighs against them in that number, but St. Louis, perfect conversion rate early in this one. Scoring in the 4th minute. Christian Valesky jumping on the board, the reigning USL Player of the Week. Involved in 2 goals, set up another against Ottawa Fury. And what was one of the most dramatic games of the early going this year in front of a sellout crowd in St. Louis last weekend. Guzman with the spin, works on Bilyeu, who keeps it in on the end line. Right back to David. Attack still on for St. Louis. Comes free to Velo. Haven't seen New York get out very often in this one.
Yeah, their midfielders need to be more present. They need to receive the ball. They need to be confident and ask for the ball. So far, St. Louis, with David in the middle and Guzman, they've been really capturing the possession. I gotta tell you though, David reminds me of Davids from Holland with the dreads, center midfielder. He's a bit taller though, but I mean, he still has a similar presence in the midfield.
And breaking through the entire defense, it's a foot race towards goal. And it's broken up at the vital moment, about 25 yards away from net. It was Sebastian Dalgard, who struggled last year in Oklahoma City down the stretch and is holding his right leg now.
That was an incredible turn. I mean, he blew past both defenders. Unfortunately, he had the third defender come and snap it away, but that was a dangerous play.
And back the other way comes Brandon Allen. Tenari's coming as well. It's picked up by Gorick. Mention OKC Energy. They're playing in our USL Game of the Week on Tuesday night. Be on Sirius XM and ESPN3. So they take on Sacramento Republic, who have that 17-game regular season winning streak. Dalgard, part of that Oklahoma City side that reached the second round of the Western Conference playoffs, and he's down now.
One of two things could have happened now. Charlie Horse or sprained muscle there.
And you don't want to take any guesses as to what an injury like this could be, because there's any number of things that we really don't get as good a look at as that trainer right there. You got to feel for a guy like Dalgard. He comes to a new place. He starts immediately. He's a guy who 2 years ago was vital to Danny Koenig, scoring nearly 24 goals in Oklahoma City. And then last year, some of the wheels fell off. They weren't scoring at the same rate. And he finds a new home, and he's already a little bit banged up in game number 3.
It's definitely frustrating to get a momentum on a team, obviously, and bouncing around. If you go to a new club, I mean, to show your worth, you always want to show. And if you get hurt, I mean, it just kills your momentum. I mean, it's definitely frustrating.
Jeremy Allenbaugh, the general manager for St. Louis, saying in past weeks he's a guy that was on our scouting report first. How could we not look at him when it came to bringing him in? Saying that someone they spoke about on the scouting report every week, a lot of upside. And right now, he is on his backside in the 24th, moving to the 25th minute here in Missouri. Look at that crowd in the corner.
They want another goal, Mike. They've calmed down. They've calmed down, but they definitely want another goal. I feel like it caught them by surprise. Like they weren't expecting a goal so early on. So now they're like, I feel like we just started the game. Let's get a goal going. But they're already going. We already scored one goal.
You see Dalgard has returned. Last game back on the first, and that's no joke. A 3-2 win over Ottawa Fury in front of a St. Louis FC USL record crowd. Over 5,500 here at Toyota. Team playing without Matt Sheldon. Rolled his ankle in training. On the other side of the injury list, they're without Ivan Mirkovic, potentially for a while longer. And Conrad Pleva is available off the bench, the former New York Red Bull, who started the first game of the year and missed the last. Everybody getting a little banged up now.
Yeah, a couple of fouls after you mentioned that. Clean game.
Yeah, that was the commentator's curse.
Now, I really want to see New York pick up their pace with the possession in the midfield. Players like Tinari, who has had an excellent showing so far, is really working hard, but really need to capture that midfield, that central possession, so they can actually slow the pace down and create some chances for New York moving forward.
Sharpie way too much on that one and a little off target as well. It looked like New York was caught off guard. When you play this high press and St. Louis is so disciplined, so defensively stuck, it almost begs to be counterattacked, right?
Right. That's dangerous, obviously. That's obviously a risk you take by pressing so high. That's why they need to start feeling out St. Louis a little bit better, making sure that they don't obviously overcommit and then create those gaps for their defense.
On the other hand, it led New York to a USL Cup title, and it led the New York Red Bulls to another terrific season last year under Jesse Marsh.
You always want to find that healthy balance, right? So I agree with you. You always want to play aggressively forward, but you obviously make sure that you understand you're leaving your gap in the back.
Laurel met the back by Dalgard and fires it out of play. Wonderful evening for the beautiful game. Back heel tap towards Valesky, the goal scorer in this one.
I agree with the weather. 67 degrees, that's ideal for a soccer match.
Yeah, you don't always get this, do you?
No, it's really not.
New York yesterday was frightfully chilly.
Especially coming from Miami. I mean, the humidity in Miami. Rarely do you get a 70-degree weather match. Takes a toll, I have to say.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, your lungs, your legs. The humidity will drain you.
Was there a city you liked to play in most when you were playing?
I'll tell you what, New York, Chicago, and LA.
Yeah.
LA, obviously you can't beat the weather in LA. No humidity.
Meanwhile, St. Louis has earned a corner kick here in the 28th minute. Arm up and a false start. Flashbulbs popping as it's David. That had plenty of energy on it, and Schmoll, when you know it, leans back and knocks it out. Throw coming for Wes Sharpie. Guzman tried to earn a corner, instead just a throw.
Mike, you mentioned earlier about Guzman. We were speaking about him.
Mm-hmm.
He had a great showing, his first game. I think he's such an impactful player for St. Louis that if he has a down night, quiet night, it's really going to affect the progression of St. Louis's attack. So far, he's been a bit quiet, but if he picks up his pace and he shows more presence in the middle, I really think they might get to 2 or 3 goals tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, the thing about Guzman is he tracks back harder than almost any wing midfielder I think of in the USL.
So you're saying he's one of the most complete players?
His work rate is incredible. And here he is again, and he's smart enough to let this go through. Sharpie, did that get a handball? It looked like it did. It ricochets right to Laurel.
We'll have to see the replay on that one. That was quick. I don't think I was in the box, though.
No, I think that would have been a free kick from the exact edge of the box.
Okay. Bezecourt playing on the right-hand side. Interesting.
Bezecourt bringing it all the way forward. And Bezecourt fires. And it's a one-hopper for David Legoric.
That was his best option. I mean, he has the speed. He has the momentum moving forward. He has no other option to pass the ball. He has a lethal left foot shot. Hey, go ahead and take it. You scored a couple goals. Build that confidence. Absolutely. That's what we need from him all night.
Here comes St. Louis again. They are not letting New York feel comfortable in the leads. New York came into this game leading the league in passes and in shots. 44 shots in 3 games. With just 4 goals to show for it. They set the USL record for goals scored in a season last year. Dalgard, a step over to create a little bit of space against Bilyeu. David retreating and knocking it past to Cochran. Here's Howe. Leski trying to let that by. Bezecourt. And this is probably not where you want Vincent Bezecourt to be getting touches.
Right. Even though I've seen in my past, in my experience, a lot of left-footed players ending up on the right-hand side. Because think about it, you receive the ball on the right-hand side, you cut the ball into the middle of the park, you've set up yourself with a left-footed shot.
Mm-hmm.
So that tactic can be applied tonight with Bezecourt. But you're mentioning because he's too deep in his side to receive the ball. That's a waste of touch for him. He needs to play more up top, receive, turn, and be creative in the third field.
Well, to St. Louis's credit, haven't they been able to hold the ball and force Bezecourt backwards?
Absolutely. That's probably why this is going on. We underrate their midfield play at this moment, but in reality, Guzman, David, they're touching the ball well. They're holding possession.
Guzman barreling in, wins the ball. And he sends in service. It bounces by Laurel. He's able to recollect the rebound. Herman almost tasted a goal himself.
See the replay here from Guzman. Struck through, just got through 4 or 5 players. Dangerous ball. It was kind of a shot in between of a center, but still dangerous play by Guzman.
And Stoikov is making his point well known. Born in the former Yugoslavia in Macedonia. Still making his point there with Vasulovic. John Wallenick really frustrated on the lower corner of your screen as well. Away from Velo. Cross whipped in by Najem, and that just knocked out in time. And it's a long run for Bilyeu. And he knocks it right into Guzman, but he wins the ball right back. O'Toole tapped ahead by Velo. David stepped in. And a long ball over the top. Bjurman. Oh, off his line.
St. Louis usually using the old tactic of long, short ball, long, short ball. That combination of all types of passes. One long checking to the center of the attacker, just maybe checking to the ball, relieving some pressure. I really like what I'm seeing from St. Louis so far with their touching and their possession.
It started with a 0-0 draw away to Louisville and really gummed up what's a small field at Slugger Field in Louisville. Then they came home, had a shootout, 3-2 win over Ottawa. And they're owning the ball again here today. You have to like what St. Louis is doing right now.
Winning the game is only going to create some momentum, right? You're going to have positivity going into the locker room. Everyone's going to be hyped for the next game. Absolutely agree.
Does anyone remember that Ottawa and St. Louis ended with St. Louis getting an own goal in the 88th minute? No, you remember that you scored in the 88th minute, won the game, right?
Correct. It doesn't matter how it goes in, as long as it goes in.
Loro inviting visitors. And that's a real nice ball from the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
O'Toole. Metzger going to Bezecourt, who switched back to the left now. Service coming toward Allen.
Look at that battle.
Howe wins it away. And now the race is on. For Valesky, it's coming back.
Now they're hugging it out. That wasn't a bad cross by Bezecourt with his right foot. I mean, typically left-footers aren't really strong with the right foot, believe it or not. So for him to cross that ball with the right, that's pretty impressive. Yeah. Working on his right foot, I guess.
Ball comes to Basulovic. That's a nice turn from Velo. Too strong on the pass. Trying to hook up with David Najem. Here's Ryan Howe out of Loyola Chicago. Preki saw him at a Loyola and SIU Edwardsville game. He had a knee injury take away his junior and senior year of college for the most part. But came back and he has found a home here in St. Louis. Off to a good start.
Not an easy feat, Mike. To lose the momentum of 2 years of your crucial development years, I mean, that's impressive that he's playing at this level.
I think Howe has had a pretty solid game so far at this left back position. He's been busy up and down the wing, and I think he's forced New York to try the left more than the right.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. He's an ever-present figure in the back left with his left foot. So I mean, he's definitely been a helpful asset to this team.
Turned over to Velo, but there's Stoikov. And a little too clever for his own good. He's pushing and shoving with Metzger. Stoikov, he's just a bubbling pot.
A lot of passion in that player.
He's been pointing at referees, players. He's been all over. Guzman, player down in the midfield. It's Valesky. Valesky saw his 2015 season come to a close. He picked up a concussion in the USL Cup playoffs and missed the playoff championship game against LA Galaxy 2 as Santi Samuels scored 2 goals, one in stoppage time, one in extra time for a 2-1 win over LA in 2015. One played without Valesky as he went up and got knocked here. Head-to-head is no fun, is it?
Yeah, I think Schmoll used his head as a soccer ball. You never want to see your striker on the ground. I mean, but it seems that he's going to be okay.
Scored in the 5th minute, his home debut, and then set up the game winner. That own goal in the final couple. And then scored in the 4th minute today, as if the 5th minute wasn't good enough.
He's on a roll. He's hot. He's streaking.
Guzman. Valesky back onto the field. Guzman in the corner. Poor Kevin O'Toole, the 18-year-old, picked up one heck of an assignment. This ball played into the middle of the box and kicked away from Bjurman. It's going to be a corner. He's got Octavio Guzman leaning into him. That's a grown man if I've ever seen one. 5'10", 26 out of Guadalajara.
He's definitely a handful.
Into the 40th minute. Can St. Louis double their lead? Not this time, as Tenari gets it back. Ledbetter tried to switch the point of the attack.
Oh, great move by Tinari. Oh, great attempt, at least. Very active player, Tinari. Very energetic on the right flank for New York.
A twin, as it turns out. Andrew played at Columbia. Twin sister Morgan played at St. John's for the great Ian Stone. Played with Rachel Daly and the Houston Dash forward who's earning some time with the Lionesses. A couple of terrific players in the New York area. Turned over by Cochran. Allen, nice spin.
That's what they need. Open up the field. They were very congested on the right-hand side, but now they're progressively opening the field now.
O'Toole, the cross. Dave Legoric picks the ball off at the highest possible point. And here comes Valesky. He's got the ball back on his foot. Valesky curling a ball across. Dalgard, saved by Laurel. And Dalgard goes to the ground again. This time Laurel was up to the task as Dalgard was wide open on the opposite side.
Beautiful pass by Valesky there. I think he lasted maybe 2 seconds too late to shoot that ball, and then he felt the wrath of Laurel come out.
The wrath.
The wrath. Trust me, you don't want to get hit by Laurel.
6'3", not
he
interested.
looks strong.
First pro start, a debut, shutout of Richmond Kickers, who fell to Louisville City today at Golden Hill. Cochran, that wasn't great, but Ledbetter there. David. Here's Howe. Exciting action across the USL tonight on the USL YouTube page and USL Match Center. Bethlehem Steel playing right now in the Eastern Conference. Oklahoma City busy in the Western Conference. Plenty of games to watch, and the action continues tomorrow. Najem turning Tenari. Playing it forward, Velo. And here's an opportunity for Basulovic.
Now they've held the ball well. They've progressed, touching the ball down the flank. Velo holding the ball, excellent. They really need to find a way to take a chance with some kind of creativity, some kind of spin move, a turn that's going to allow them to get a shot off.
Najem curls across. Ball is still there. Velo saved by Goric and cleared by Stoikov.
I think they read my mind. That was a great chance by Velo. See that replay. I think it deflected off the defender, but then he had an open. Oh, yeah, that was kind of a high kick. They didn't call it.
Mm-hmm. To be fair, if the defender brings his head that far down,
Correct.
What's the call there?
No, yeah, that's why he probably didn't get a call.
Yeah. And to be fair, he wouldn't have been there otherwise.
Right. He might have done better on that shot, though. I mean, he had a wide open shot.
And to Goric's credit,
yeah.
The guy who last year in Colorado Springs was the death of all scoring chances, finds himself in the right place at the right time again. Another player down here for St. Louis. They may be looking to go to the bench early here. That's Jose Angulo. Well, truth be told, this is probably not what you're looking to do in the 44th minute, but for St. Louis, you're up 1-0 on the reigning Cup champion. You're feeling pretty good about the whole thing, even if you do have to make this early substitution.
I just think Dalgard got hit. He got knocked earlier, and he's just taking that time now to really appease the clock. Angulo coming in is going to provide that deep forward striker role. Creativity, the Colombian has experience. So let's see what happens starting the second half of Angulo.
Angulo, born in Cali, Colombia, grew up in Clifton, New Jersey, joined the Revolution out of high school. Played for Harrisburg and Pittsburgh. He was in Pittsburgh where he scored as many goals in 2013 as one Dom Dwyer. Back then with Orlando City in the USL, moved up to Sporting Kansas City, and they say the rest is history with Dom Dwyer.
I've heard of that guy.
Yeah, right.
I believe he's married to Sydney Leroux, the U.S. national female player.
Mm-hmm.
A little soccer couple there.
That is a soccer power couple if there is one. Dwyer and Leroux.
I think they even had a child recently.
They did.
Yeah.
And that's the Jay-Z and Beyonce child of the soccer world, if I had to guess, as this ball fired in and comes to Laurel. 2 minutes of stoppage time in this opening 45. St. Louis scored in the fourth, and they've held that lead ever since. John Wallenick in New York, they let one mistake get by them, but St. Louis, in truth, has had the better of this one, and Brecky's side inching closer to getting to the locker room with a lead. Tipped into the middle of the field. Here's Basulovic. Back by Najem. Schmoll. Tenari. Walnick looking for the offside flag. Never came. Pressure coming from St. Louis as they try and double their lead before the half, but this quick passing from New York initially was enough to get away, but here's David. Metzger couldn't break up the pass. Sharpie moving up the wing. Final seconds of first half stoppage time. Guzman playing it wide. Sharpie plays it across. He's looking for Angulo. It comes down, and the effort by Bjurman not nearly enough.
Great efforts on both teams, though. I was just going to comment before this whole breakaway happened from St. Louis. New York had kept possession for at least 15 touches, which is what they need to do to really capitalize on the third end of the field. But St. Louis, again, they're capturing their tackles. They're winning the ball. Guzman's obviously creating some danger. It's hard to say, but St. Louis really has had the best of this half so far.
Valesky heads it towards Angulo. Brings it down. It's saved by Loro. And we've reached halftime. What a way to get there. Look at Loro. My goodness. What a save that was. Good first half for St. Louis, no?
Yeah. Great attempt by Angulo there. I saw him post up. He moved. He put his body between the defender. He wound up that left-footed shot. Ideal volley. So fortunately it didn't go in for them, but great attempt.
We have stats, highlights, and Morgan Conklin walks us through the week that was in the USL. Coming up next, St. Louis ahead on the fourth-minute goal by Valesky.
With pre-collision system, lane departure alert, and more, Toyota Safety Sense is an advanced suite of active safety technology, now standard at no extra cost on 13 Toyota models. Tested, trusted Toyota. Get 0% APR for 72 months on a new 2017 RAV4 or get $2,000 customer cash. Toyota, let's go places.
The best things in life are free, but you can give them to the birds and bees. I need
There's really only one place where the carpets are always red and the stars are everywhere you look. There's no place like Hollywood. Hollywood Casino St. Louis.
Stop living with joint pain. Take the first step at mercy.net/knee pain.
What's my favorite thing about the Fun Wrap 4? Has great handling. It's street cleaning day.
1-0 St. Louis at halftime. Last week, Matt Spearman said the fans pushed them to get the last goal. They kept chanting, and we kept working as hard as we could. They were in Louisville as well. The Louligans take Louisville.
We know what's going on. We know what we got to do. Clean up after yourselves. Take care of things. All three buses, the captains will be talking back and forth.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Trying to figure out who let all these St. Louligans on my bus. Yeah. All right, let's go.
Here we are on bus number 1 of 3 buses. We've got 150 Louligans on 3 buses, 50 apiece. We're headed down to Louisville. It's been quite the adventure already. Everybody's getting excited and pumped up for the first game. This is going to be so important to kick off the Preki era. We're ready to go, and this is going to be an unbelievable time.
We've got a whole lot of Louligans. 3 buses. I mean, I don't know anybody that's ever done that before.
What supplies did you bring for this?
I brought beer, and there's ice on the beer, and then I brought a scarf.
So everybody's able to drink. We're starting the party early. We skipped the time zone here, and we're starting our drinking early, so everybody's pumped up, ready to go. I can only imagine that when we walk in, this crowd's going to be ready to go.
Well, the Louligans certainly making their presence felt in the King's Cup. They play against Louisville City next on July 22nd, right here at Toyota Stadium, 7:30. Tickets available, stlouisfc.com. It's 1-0. Christian Valesky scored in the fourth. When we return, Morgan Conklin takes you through the USL highlights from last week. And Albert and I look back at the first half highlights. You're watching St. Louis FC as they lead New York Red Bulls 2, 1-0.
We've raised the stakes. Expectations are high. Our biggest season yet will break records with elite players and future stars. Innovative technology and new homes. We're growing the game in our communities and across the nation. Are you ready?
As we go into Week 3 play, let's take a look back at Week 2 of the USL season. Set up by Notzel Selbel, Carlton Belmar notched his second goal in as many games to secure the 1-0 win for Swope Park Rangers against his former team, Portland Timbers 2. Louisville City converted on 3 of their 8 shots on target to take the win over Orlando City B 3-1, with Orlando's only goal coming off an own goal before half. Louisville came out strong in the second half and were able to put the game away with goals from George Davis IV and Luke Spencer. The Rochester Rhinos jumped out to a 2-goal lead, but in extra time before half, Bethlehem Steel cut the lead to 1 thanks to a Charlie Davies PK. Coming in off the bench, Johan Graf was able to seal the 3-2 win in the final 2 minutes for Rochester. New York Red Bulls 2 played strong defense, shutting out the Richmond Kickers 1-0 in their inaugural game at MSU Soccer Park. Zico Lewis found the back of the net in the 69th minute for the Red Bulls. Andrew Wiedemann and GB led FC Cincinnati to the 1-0 win in Pittsburgh, as GB notched his second goal in as many games. The Riverhounds played most of the game with 10 men after Gale Agbasumude received his second yellow of the game in the 42nd minute. Phoenix Rising struggled to combine in the attacking half as the Real Monarchs took the 2-0 win at home, winning their second game in a row as Phoenix fell to 0-2 to start the season. 0-0 at half, the Charlotte Independents controlled 62% of the game's possession, but the Charleston Battery put 2 away within 7 minutes to top Charlotte 2-0 in the Southern Derby. 2 home games, 2 wins for the Tampa Bay Rowdies to open their USL slate. Michael Nanchoff led the team with 2 assists as he set up Damian Lowe and Georgie Ristoff early in the first half for the first 2 goals of the game, as the Rowdies handled Toronto FC 4-0. Oklahoma City Energy FC took to the road for the second week in a row as they faced off with the Colorado Springs Switchbacks in snowy conditions. The game ended in a 1-1 draw with first half goals for both sides as neither team was able to find the difference maker in the second half. Tulsa earned their second win of the season and handed RGV their second loss as Joey Calistri found the back of the net for Tulsa in the 31st minute. A sellout crowd of 5,566 watched St. Louis earn their first win of the season, a 3-2 victory over Ottawa Fury FC, thanks to an own goal deflection in the 88th minute. Billy Forbes led his team for the second week in a row this week, a goal and an assist, and a 3-0 win over LA Galaxy 2. Rafael Castillo notched a goal for himself off Forbes' assist as San Antonio starts their 2017 season 2-0. Brennan Griffiths will be the name remembered for Reno 1868's first goal in the history of the club, but neither Reno nor Vancouver Whitecaps 2 could completely pull away as the game ended in a 1-1 draw. Wilson Nishan Sammy Ochoa led the charge as Sacramento Republic FC delighted a sellout crowd of 11,569 fans to a 4-0 win over Orange County FC. Nishan finished the game with 1 goal and 1 assist, combining with Ochoa, who finished with 2 goals. And that's your look around the league. For USL Network, I'm Morgan Conklin.
Stop living with joint pain. Take the first step at mercy.net/knee pain.
With pre-collision system, lane departure alert, and more. Toyota Safety Sense is an advanced suite of active safety technology, now standard at no extra cost on 13 Toyota models. Tested, trusted, Toyota. Get 0% APR for 72 months on a new 2017 RAV4, or get $2,000 customer cash. Toyota, let's go places.
The best things in life are free, but you can give them to the birds and bees.
There's really only one place where the carpets are always red and the stars are everywhere you look. There's no place like Hollywood. Hollywood Casino St. Louis.
What's my favorite thing about the Fun RAV4? Has great handling. It's street cleaning day.
Halftime at Toyota Stadium. It's a 1-0 lead for St. Louis FC over the reigning USL Cup champion New York Red Bulls 2. Mike Watt's back with Albert Munoz. We take a look back at the first half highlights, and how about bang, bang, bang from New York, just like the Ottawa game. In that game, it was the 5th. This time, Christian Valesky does it in the 4th. It was so fast, if you didn't turn on the game in time, you missed the biggest moment so far.
It happened in the first couple of minutes, Mike. I mean, just leading up to this play here, a mistake here, the defensive play. Valesky's pressure was too much, and all of a sudden there's a goal. The rest of the game, you're looking at possession play by St. Louis that really has overpowered New York. Hopefully in the second half, New York comes, regroups, and then, starts being more aggressive moving forward with their attack.
Justin Bilyeu committing the turnover that led to the goal. We move forward. New York had a few chances. It just seemed like they struggled to keep possession in the long run. In this case, Vincent Bezecourt taking it up to the end line. And it was several half chances for New York in this first.
Right. I mean, there wasn't any clear chances for them. I mean, unfortunately, they didn't have the creativity or the possession to really overpower St. Louis. They really had the shots, as you see here. They had the confidence to move forward. A lot of these same plays over and over, the repetitive play. Players like Guzman, David in the middle, Valesky up top, they really made a difference here.
That was how previously. What a pass from Valesky, and Dalgard saved by Laurel.
Dalgard had a strong first half. Unfortunately, he got hit a couple times, and he was subbed out, but he had a clear opportunity here to score.
Valesky trying to add his second assist of the year. New York in the final minutes of this opening half. Nearly a goal from Valo, saved by Goric.
Valo literally found himself with the ball here. I mean, if he would have maybe had one more second to really wind up, he potentially had a tie of the game here.
So St. Louis trudges off the field with a 1-goal lead. We take a look at the halftime stats, and I got to tell you, Albert, that possession number to me is a little misleading. It felt like St. Louis had the ball more, didn't they?
Yeah, we were talking about 60-40 in favor of St. Louis. I mean, how is this so? I mean, it's clear that St. Louis is overpowered in the middle, had possession, but you know what? The truth is told here. It's a pretty even game so far.
In total, 10 shots, but St. Louis peppering Laurel with 5 on target as they hold this 1-0 lead at halftime. St. Louis and Preki back onto the field. Could this be their second win in as many weeks? Couldn't say that very much over the last couple of years. You think back to 2 years ago, and they struggled mightily at home under Dale Schilly. As this club, built around the St. Louis Scott Gallagher Club, really struggling to find its footing in this professional level at the USL, but it seems like they've made the moves needed. Jeremy Allenbaugh going and swinging for the fences, bringing in a coach with as much respect as anybody in the league in Preki, making a ton of changes across the roster, a bigger budget. clearly they have come to play. And in this game, they are trying, it appears, to make a very clear statement for the number one team in the East, the same way they did 2 weeks ago by taking Louisville to a 0-0 draw, the number 2 team in the East last year.
Sure, Mike. So, as you were mentioning, St. Louis has a big back line, strong presence with Ledbetter, Howe, Charpy, and an even stronger midfield with Guzman now playing in the center, along with David, who has been obviously the focal point in the middle. Players like Berman connecting with Dalgard and Boleski. There's really a potential force in this team here in this season.
Boleski, one of 5 former USL Cup champions on this St. Louis FC side. He gets the first touch of the second half of play. Here we go. Mike Watts, Albert Munoz, second half of play between New York Red Bulls 2 and St. Louis FC. So glad you could spend your Saturday evening with us no matter where you're watching, from St. Louis to New York to around the world on USL Match Center and on YouTube. Bilyeu, who gave up that turnover in the first half, resulting in the St. Louis goal in the 4th minute. Knocked upfield by Cochran.
So I'm thinking in the halftime, 15-minute break, you have the Red Bulls regrouped, really focused on the mistakes and moving forward to correct them. I feel that a player like Valo, who can easily turn up and come and make a difference, connecting with players like Bazulovic in the middle, Tinari, and obviously Bezecourt. I really feel that they're gonna really amp up their energy to really make a difference. They have to get a goal to tie the game. I mean, they're down, so they have to have full force moving forward starting the second half.
And they just seem to come out a little bit flat. This is a team that won the USL Cup championship last year, that torrid run, a couple of penalty kick wins, and they just didn't seem to have it early going, but they may have turned the corner in those last few minutes.
We have to understand that they're playing away, right? I mean, home court advantage, however you want to say it, is huge force against a team. St. Louis is up. They have their home crowd behind them. They went into the first half when the break, knowing that they obviously have the advantage. So they're going to come out and continuously be present in the midfield. They can continuously win the balls, be aggressive. Players like Guzman is really going to dictate the pace for the second half. So it's not easy to play against a home crowd here in St. Louis.
Guzman fouled by 22-year-old Dan Metzger. And you really are playing against a couple things. This new turf field that was put down a year and a half ago after that flood ravaged the facility here in St. Louis. And the crowd, and of course the team that Precky's putting on the field now. You mentioned it's a little on the slick side, this field, from all appearances. It's been raining all week, but this field good enough to make it seem like it hasn't been, which is to say something.
But I have to say, it is a very different feel when you're playing on turf as opposed to grass. I mean, the ball is going to move at least twice as fast any given moment. If it rains, even more so. It's going to be even slicker.
Below, a little frustrated. Finally, the weather clearing up. 67 and partly cloudy today. Basulovic will get a restart. And for a New York team that likes to play fast, you're probably going, okay, ball's moving quickly, let's go. But that pressure almost is outdone by the speed of the passing of St. Louis in this game.
Right, they're just not connecting, though. I feel like there's a lot of individualities, but they're not playing as a team to the point where they're just touching the ball. Players in the midfield, especially like Basulovic, who has an effort present in the midfield, he needs to control the ball. He needs to stop the ball and say, hey, touch the ball, give it right back to me. Touch the ball again, give it right back to me. But we're going to progress down the field. That's the only way New York's really going to get a scoring opportunity in the second half.
And Gulo came on for the injured Sebastian Dalgard. Run back now for Najem. This is a team that hadn't lost in 17 consecutive games going back to last year, including the playoff run. 12-0-5, and 2 of those were wins in penalties in the end. A group that hasn't been shut out twice in a row for as long as I can remember. They set the USL record for wins and goals scored and goal differential last year. This is a little uncharacteristic
You would think they'd have more momentum at this point.
Little.
Yeah, I mean, carrying off that record, I mean, it's impactful. It's usually going to carry you through and obviously make a difference. But I mean, like you said, it's not like the New York team I saw even a couple weeks ago.
That 3-3 game against Pittsburgh Riverhounds, where it seemed like all the scoring was still very much with the team. Tenari, one of those new faces on this New York team, along with Basulovic. The rest of the names all pretty familiar in this lineup. Up the right-hand side, Sharpie curls in across. That gets over everybody on the defensive deflection. Stoikov tries to jump into the middle. And Valo didn't really work well with Allen on that ball that ricocheted free. Valo will get the ball back and slip it to Bezecourt. Tried to play the wing. Sulovic outwitted. Here's Guzman. Metzger playing Valo. Through for Allen. Schmoll going wide for 24-year-old David Nujem. Took his talents overseas in the 4th division of Germany and returned to the United States after coming out of the Red Bulls Academy. Bezecourt plays it to the wing. He's got Valo. Serves it back in front. It's Allen. He scores. The reigning USL MVP back on the board, and we're tied at 1.
Great combo play by the 3 strikers here. I mean, Bezecourt, Valo, Allen, everyone had a touch. Great finish, but the whole lead-up was the ever important play here. Bezecourt was able to actually funnel a ball through to Valo, who was smart enough to actually hit the ball back and not take an angled shot there. So great end to this play here.
Bezecourt setting up Valo, setting up Allen. Boy, is that music to New York Red Bulls 2 fans' ears.
There's never a wrong time to score a goal, but this is actually one of the better times to score right in the second half. Right in the beginning, right when you're obviously coming back from that 1-0 loss or down from the first half. This builds confidence. Now New York's going to play differently. I can assure you they're going to have more energy. Their momentum's going to pick up. Players like Bezecourt, you already see he's already sprinting faster. I mean, it's just going to change the whole pace of this game here.
And so much for potentially 2 shutouts in a row. That would be hugely uncharacteristic for a New York team that last year in the final against a good Swope Park team dropped 5 goals in a championship match.
Wow.
Allen in the 52nd minute. 1-1 between these 2 sides. And New York finally striking back. St. Louis scored in the 4th minute. And you turned to me at halftime and you just sort of said, this New York team feels a little flat.
Right. Hey, but you know what? Certain players, all they need is 1 or 2 touches and certain, I guess, moments in games to change the game. And this is what happened. Their talent really just came out and their creativity, and it turned into a goal. So that's what happens with these type of players.
And the attack's still on here below, really pressuring David Legoric. That's off into the bleachers, and the ball stays with New York. That pressure is now beginning to build up a little bit.
Sure, it's that momentum. I mean, it happens. Right when you score a goal, your team you're on a high.
Metzger playing it wide. Ball finds O'Toole, who curls it right back in front. New York looking for 2 in as many minutes. Metzger, the turn by Tenari. He's got a little room on the right, and a gem! Saved by Goric and kicked out. All of a sudden, New York has all the momentum in this one.
Great shot of Najem. I mean, unexpected shot. I was thinking he was going to be ambitious there, but he has a whipping right foot shot. Look at this. Bouncing ball, volley. Incredible attempt on goal.
How about that effort? And Gorick up to the task. This an Electro Savings corner kick. And that ball nearly headed towards target. Kept by Tanari, spun across by Schmoll. Here comes Allen, the goal scorer in the 52nd, serves it again. The header comes back across to Bezecourt, still loose, kicked away. And New York trying to camp under it.
What a change now in the last few minutes. New York just completely overpowering St. Louis. Oh, but we have a great through ball here.
And not enough help just yet. There comes Guzman down the middle. Turning towards the end line. And Najem keeps the ball for New York, a goal kick coming. These last really 5 minutes, not even the 10 minutes of this half, feel like an entirely different story than the first half.
That's what a goal does for you. Tying goal especially, knowing that you have the whole second half left. It's really going to make a difference for New York now moving forward.
A little bit of the air out of the building at Toyota Stadium. New York has already had an amazing comeback at the start of this year. The late win over Ottawa, last time out. Vasilovic comes to Allen. It's a tricky touch from part of that first family of New York soccer, R.J. Allen and Brandon Allen. NYCFC and New York Red Bulls, and a man down is Tanari. New York has never lost in this series. They did meet last year as St. Louis moved out to the Western Conference, 2-0-0 in the initial year of play between these teams back in 2015. Well for New York. A 17-game unbeaten streak, should say. Snapped against Harrisburg. 12-0-5. Trying to avoid 2 straight defeats. But this 1-1 result certainly making them feel a little better about picking up a point at least on the road. Tackle from Guzman, whistle comes.
A little frustration there from St. Louis now, knowing that New York has increased and improved their energy. Players like Guzman really need to take care of themselves. They don't want to get a yellow card for unnecessary tackles. Hopefully New York can continue this momentum. I mean, they're talented enough to really continue touching the ball well. They're creative. They're just you have to get that rhythm, which I feel that they're finally reaching now.
This ball is played low, eventually popped high into the air. Vasilovic got a piece, knocks it back to Metzger, and they get it away from the massive humanity at the top of the 18-yard box. Metzger. And this ball curled in. Header by Bezecourt is in. New York has a second. And they lead 2-1. Two goals in 6+ minutes for New York.
What a beautiful cross by Allen here with his left foot straight into the head of oncoming left midfielder Bezecourt, who at this point was in the perfect position to execute his goal. I'm happy for him. He's been playing strong all game. He's a lethal player, and he's going on with his 3rd goal of the season. A lot of momentum flying for him. He's going to have a lot of confidence going into the second half here.
And Albert Munoz once again calls both goal scorers in the pregame warm-up shots. It's incredible. He had Valesky and now he has Bezecourt. I'm not saying that sports gambling should be okay. I'm just saying that if I get into that neck of the woods, I'm calling you. Valesky heads it down. Valesky trying to cut it back, and Bilyeu kicks it out. Justin Bilyeu, 20 in blue, out of St. Louis, Missouri, wearing the captain's armband in his return home. Ball played along the ground. Guzman curls it through. Bjurman trying to pick it up again. And now Stoikov. Schmoll knocks it down. Now David from distance has Loro diving, but it's wide.
You think this frustrated St. Louis, that second goal from New York?
These 10 minutes have been wild at Toyota Stadium.
Wow. Just from that play that Valeski had in that chance, going back, questionable turn. He had a perfect shot moving forward. I'm not sure why he cut, but he probably felt comfortable with his right foot. But that last shot by David, incredible attempt.
Do you feel it now? Do you feel this game coming?
Oh, yeah. I called it, man. 4 or 5 hours ago, I was going to say this is going to be an exciting game. Oh, look at this.
Bezecourt! Off the post! Played in by Tenari and over. New York, nearly a third in 10 minutes.
Oh, we get that replay. Nutmeg and a left-footed shot on post. Oh, incredible.
It's almost more skill than putting it in.
Oh, we missed that nutmeg, but incredible attempt by Bezecourt again. Would have been the second of his night. You think I like Bezecourt? Does it sound like it?
Bezecourt, a real strong player out of France. Played at St. Francis, Brooklyn, and last year, speaking before the title game with John Wallenick, he said, we looked at drafting him, showing he can really help us out, worth the wait. And he's how they described it. Scored 6 goals in the regular season, but added 2 goals, 3 assists. Over 4,000, nearly 5 in attendance tonight. As another strong showing, over 5,000 fans a game have come out to these first 2. Bezecourt coming again. He's really trying to spoil the party. Bezecourt plays it down the middle. Velo lets it by. Probably had a better look. Ball back out to midfield. And Guzman. And New York slows the pressure.
A lot of energy, great energy in the second half. It's tough to keep up. I mean, both sides are just creating some beautiful soccer to watch. Bezecourt on the flank, Guzman on the opposite side, and Valescu, they're all doing their part.
If there's one downside, and I really stress that it's hard to say there's a downside to scoring in the 4th minute. It's really easy to go into neutral early and let the other team, it's tortoise in the hare action eventually, isn't it?
That's exactly what it is. You become a little complacent because you have that goal that you scored on so early on that you forget that you have almost 90 minutes left. Very dangerous, actually.
This through ball towards Valeski was dangerous as well. Stoikov still chasing, and New York has it, at least for the moment. Metzger playing it ahead, and here comes Basulovic. Dangerous as they come. Plays it wide to Bezecourt. He has targets coming down the middle. Winds it back for O'Toole.
Their confidence is there at this point. They're really feeling confident with these balls. The fact that these one-time balls are clean placed in the midfield, that means their touch is on, and they know they're in the zone. It's great stuff to watch.
Is that team zone, or can one individual single-handedly bring other players into that mental mindset?
Oh yeah, I mean it's based on knowing that your teammate, you pass the ball to him, he's reached the ball, he never loses it. It's like Xavi from Barcelona. A player like him, everyone knows to give him the ball because he's going to hold the ball. Players like Bezecourt, who's on fire right now, give him the ball, he's not going to lose it. That's what that individuality comes in. That's where he could really dictate the team's play.
Bilyeu got his foot in. Oh boy, he could have been the GOAT tonight. Instead, his team is looking like the GOAT in this league right now. Through ball. Guzman towards the end line against Metzger. Plays a cross out over the middle. Sharpie heads it, keeps it onside. Angulo, oh, that's impressive. And he curls the ball through. He's got no targets. And Loro collects easily enough. Goal in the 4th from Christian Valeski, his 2nd goal in as many games, both in the first 5 minutes of the contest. Brandon Allen returning fire in the 52nd, coming off a USL Cup playoff run where he scored 6. And then Vincent Bezecourt, who had a terrific playoff run of his own, scoring his 3rd goal of the season in the 58th as Guzman goes down and the yellow card is out. Dan Metzger is in the book in the 65th.
Oh yeah, he was brought down here with his foul. Players like Guzman, I mean, they have to be a little frustrated for the outcome so far. David also has worked so hard in the midfield. Angulo came in, has been strong up front. But these players who've worked so hard in the first half, knowing that they were leading by a goal, unfortunately now they're down by a goal. It's obviously going to be a little frustrating. They have a little less than 20 minutes left to really, turn up the pace to try to score a goal here.
Bezecourt there on the defense, and Guzman will have a corner. This a rare time on this Electro Savings corner where St. Louis does not have a man short. Aimed at David. Comes free. Stoikov tries to play it back to David again. Metzger allowing the ball back to Loro. Not enough defenders trust a goalkeeper to get there in time to pick that ball off the end line.
Right.
And not enough goalkeepers actually get there when they say they're going to.
Exactly. It's always a challenge. There's always a chance of miscommunication. I've seen many goals many times where goalies have been calling out, defenders have been calling out, and no one hits the ball, and then they get scored on. But in this case, Loro really took care of the ball there.
Taking charge. He is the louder of the goalkeepers. Rafi Diaz a little more of keeping to his own business. But a guy with a lot of experience, Diaz, who's not with the team here tonight. Red Bulls waiting to get a man on. David Abador. Signed as a trialist. Meanwhile, St. Louis trying to get back in it. And they earn a corner kick.
Mike, St. Louis has brought in a player that, in my eyes, has surprised me. David in the center midfield. Composed, strong, leadership, touching the ball, ever present. I really like David. I mean, he's really made a difference in this this game for St. Louis. I didn't see him in the first game. He's really combining well with Guzman.
Dan Metzger is playing on a yellow card, gets his early papers. David Abador comes on for the Red Bulls. Undrafted in 2015, trialed in Salt Lake, played in Sweden, and in New York, playing his home games at Montclair State.
Interesting substitute here. It's his tactical substitute. Abador coming in the midfield, he's going to play in the center with Vasilovic and Tinari. Fresh legs, obviously they're up. They have some time on the clock, so they're going to make sure that they pressure well in the midfield.
Here comes the service. It's dangerous. Loro got there, headed right back into the mixer there. That chop towards the touchline, it belongs to New York. So when the game begins to slip away from you, when you feel like the pressure that New York brings is really coming along now, if you're St. Louis, how do you change that tide?
Interesting. A couple of things. Obviously, you're going to want to pressure your existing players on the pitch. They're going to want to obviously increase their energy. You want them to come together and really try to be proactive in their move. But maybe it's time to look for a substitute. Maybe some fresh legs. Maybe a youth player, someone that could spark the offense with a couple of creative plays. But I have to say that New York's overwhelming, increasing pressure in the second half is really taking a toll on St. Louis.
Ball through the legs of Stoikov. Belongs to Red Bulls too. Yellow card coming as well.
For the pit bull.
Yeah, that's right. There goes Stoikov. If there's one player who's bound the style of play to eventually end up on a yellow card accumulation suspension, he's the guy on this team.
Oh, yeah. You can immediately see that with his aggressive style, his passion. He'll make his presence felt, even though he's not a tall guy. He's a fairly short player, but he's so strong and passionate. So, yeah, I couldn't agree with you more.
Listed 5'9". Do you like having one of those guys on your team?
Oh yeah, I mean you have to. I mean he's someone. He's the captain now. I mean he's a player that he'll lead you. I mean just with his attitude, with his energy. Yeah. So answer, yeah, I would love a player like that on my team.
And most every press release will say, a player is very competitive. He's going to add something to the team with his competitiveness. Well,
he brings a lot to the table.
That's right. Here comes the shot from Tenari, taken by Gorick.
Great attempt there by Tenari. Just a little bit more on the outswing to actually try to get that around the goalie Gorick.
Not hard to see why the Holbrook, New York native has really made a name for himself. Tenari coming in as a trialist and earning a spot on this roster and earning a spot in the starting 11.
He's another type of player that you want to have on the pitch. Energy, a lot of energy, just complete positive, forward-thinking energy on your team.
Bezecourt getting the ball wide again. Here's O'Toole. They're looking for another. Bezecourt, when he's running downfield, his head's on a swivel, isn't it?
He has a lot of vision, Bezecourt. He knows exactly where he wants to place the ball without even looking at it.
Well, he did well there to get by Guzman. St. Louis will need to get an offensive spark, and Max Alvarez is waiting to come on. He certainly would be a good factor for that. Ball belongs to New York in a dangerous free kick position. Left foot of Bezecourt, right foot. It is indeed the left. Bezecourt. Angulo rips the ball right down the center. Valesky outmatched, double teamed. Sharpie left that ball a little short. And the pressure for St. Louis pays off. Ball ricochets around. Guzman. David. Howe moving ahead. Angulo. Sharpie. Cross. Bounds out. But the pressure still coming from Bjurman. Ball lifted towards Velo. St. Louis backstopping. Bezecourt is aiming for Allen. It's amazing how 3 forwards can keep the ball in one area of the field against 5 St. Louis players in this moment.
When you control the ball well, you can have 5 players on top of you, and you should be okay.
Long ball. It's Valesky hit from behind. It goes uncalled, or did it? Nope. Yellow card and a penalty as Schmoll gives St. Louis a chance to respond and level the game in the 74th.
And a yellow card. Wow. See that replay. Wow, that was incredible. Valesky ever putting pressure on the top. I mean, he really created that out of nothing.
Schmoll maybe a bit unlucky, but at 6'7", that's the role sometimes you play. Everything looks a little more physical. Well, now here's an opportunity for Jose Angulo. He looks for his first goal as a member of St. Louis FC, and it would tie the match against New York.
Left-footed shot, right of the goalie. Let's see if that goes through.
Angulo for the tie. He scores. St. Louis doubles. It's back to 2-2.
That footed shot, great goal attempt here by Angulo. He put it right in the corner. I mean, well placed, right side of the goalie. This will definitely pick up his momentum, his confidence. But yeah, we couldn't ask for a better penalty shot here.
Well, New York had owned the game for the better part of 20 minutes, and then out of nowhere, Christian Valesky earns a penalty that leads to the spot kick by Angulo. Alvarez comes on, replaces Valesky, who did yeoman's work again.
And he did exactly what we wanted from the forward. Scored a goal and created a penalty kick. Great night for the young man here.
23 years old. He was the MVP of the 2015 MLS Combine, and well, he was one heck of a scorer, that's for sure. Meanwhile, can New York respond? Not there is Gorick. He's out to grab it.
And Mike, as they say, now we have a game.
Yeah, don't we?
2-2. I'd say the score is fair. I mean, both teams have really turned it up. At one point, St. Louis had possession, and as you see, we were contradicted on the actual possession stats, but it seemed to us that St. Louis was playing a better game in the first half. But New York came out in the second half. They really turned it up, created opportunities, scored a couple goals, and now look, we're at 2-2, and we have remaining minutes in the game.
Alvarez for Valesky, that substitution a moment ago. The former Sacramento Republic man coming on for the former Rochester Rhino. Both new to the equation in St. Louis this year. And they moved on from their leading scorer from a year ago in Irvin Herrera. They sent him to New York Cosmos, which a lot of people were scratching their head about. And ultimately, they have proven very much that they knew what they were doing, and they were upgrading their talent this year, at least giving themselves a chance to be a better offensive team on the whole. As on comes Zico Lewis, replacing Andrew Tenari. And Tenari had a really solid game, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, I would agree. I mean, underrated coming in, but he really showed his worth. I really liked his style, very energetic, useful. Created some great plays here, but now they brought in Lewis, who's an attacker. They really want to try to solidify a potential third goal here to lock in the game. Fresh legs as well.
Lewis debuted against Richmond and only scored in the 69th minute. He is some kind of player. He went into the MLS Super Draft to really let everybody know what it meant that he fell all the way to New York in the 17th pick, saying that teams will one day look at the scoreboard and know that they made a mistake.
Yeah, something to prove, I guess.
That's a lot of confidence.
Oh, yeah.
Stepping ahead, Angulo finding Guzman open. He plays it across, and he was in an offside position.
Angulo with the great cross there. He showed his flair with that cut with the left foot, and then he crossed it with the right. But Guzman unfortunately couldn't trap it well and set himself up with a proper shot. He got a little caught there.
And there was contact there as well. It initially looked like Guzman was the player who was off, but on second thought, it looks like Alvarez rolled over a player, and that apparently is the bigger issue there, 25 yards away from goal. St. Louis looking to go back to the G&W substitutions.
They have to give it their all now at the end of the game. I mean, they have to put in whatever they feel that they're going to bring in to bring fresh legs in. This is the time to do it. They don't have any more time. 10 more minutes to really solidify this game.
Guzman working on Bezecourt. And that was a lot of contact and no whistle. And here comes the move. Octavio Guzman, again, a threat all game long, coming off, and on comes Seth Rudolph, man out of Belleville, Illinois.
great showing by Guzman. I mean, as we came into this game speaking about him very highly, he's such a workhorse. I mean, he produces all game long. It's a shame to see him go at this point in the game. He must be spent. But he really did offer some great soccer tonight.
And here comes Angulo. St. Louis trying to come away with more than just 1 point at home. Ball knocked out by Bjurman. Here comes Howe. Runners down the middle. There's the cross. And if Bjurman was just a few feet further ahead. At the third and final substitution.
This is the point in the game where composure kicks in. This is where you really need to make sure that you make your proper touches, get your creative juices flowing. You know, try to obviously start penetrating through the flanks. Just go back to point zero, where you can essentially remember how you play soccer, remember how you play as a team. Just calm down. Everyone just obviously have some possession on the game. Because if you start rushing, you have 10 more minutes, you're going to be exhausted by the last couple of minutes. So it's better, obviously, to pace yourself for the last couple of minutes in the game.
Sharpie came over from Toronto FC2, and he's gliding in. Sharpie sends service, ball all the way across, and cleared away. Basulovic. Here comes Allen. Got this comeback started for New York. Bezecourt, the give and go, plays the ball for Velo. Oric got there first.
Great attempt. Obviously, a bunch of teamwork there at play for New York. They led up the field with the touches, proper passes, but Bezecourt came up short with that pass at the end. I hoped he would have done a little bit better with that, actually.
There's Zico Lewis at the top of your screen. Came out of the same high school, Berkshire School, as Jack Harrison, who lit up the field on the wing for NYCFC last year. There will be some friendly competition going forward in New York if they both pan out in the sense that Zico Lewis hopes to pan out. As a player down here for New York in these final minutes. The Red Bulls only traveled 5 players. They do have 1 sub remaining, and it's interesting because they have Zach Ryan and Xavier Kennedy, a goalkeeper. So you've got a U18 player in the field, and then you've got Junior Flemings, the forward, who seems like a logical enough pick if you're trying to come in here and take 3 points.
I'm surprised he didn't come in earlier in the game. I mean, he had a great presence last game. Look at that. Read our mind. Actually, he has a little less than 7 minutes to show something different here. Below, great game, great effort. I mean, he must have been hit now. But Flemings essentially is a player that can literally turn into a goal-scoring machine at any given minute. So let's see what happens in the last final.
Played 4 years at Tivoli Gardens, and Flemings plenty of experience. Ball is deflected by Flemings. And again, Loro there to get it right before a St. Louis player arrived on the scene. What a fun one we've had here. Mike Watts, Albert Munoz from Toyota Stadium in Fenton, Missouri, a 2-2 deadlock in the 83rd minute. Goal in the 4th coming from Christian Voleski. Jose Angulo tying the game with a spot kick in the 74th. In between, 2 goals in 7 minutes. Brandon Allen, Vincent Bezecourt. Dave Legoric back on the ball. And here's Ledbetter, St. Louis native, draft pick of FC Dallas. Pressure coming from New York. When you break that pressure, you have a chance to get numbers.
That's exactly what's going on right now. Oh, unfortunately, that last touch. But that was a great lead up by New York, and also by St. Louis on the way back. David in the middle, just starting the whole play. Stoico, obviously, composure in the middle. Now that we have obviously a couple new players, and look at this opportunity here.
What a pass to Rudolph! He put it in!
Wow.
3-2 St. Louis!
Fresh legs, Mike.
That's more than fresh legs. That's one hell of a foot.
What a goal. I was mentioning the lead up by St. Louis. I mean, what a great head flick setup for this shot here on goal. Rudolph with the strike. I mean, he couldn't have placed it any better. Right off the volley with the right foot. And what a moment. We're literally minutes away from the end of the game. A tiebreaker, exceptional way to come into the game.
Belleville, 23 goals in one season, set the goal scoring record there. 7th most prolific goal scorer at GW. Out of the St. Louis Scott Gallagher Academy that serves as the base for St. Louis FC. Yeah, boy, was that a huge goal in the 84th minute.
Talk about a treat for the home crowd, huh?
How about another potential 3-2 win with a game-winning goal in the last 10 minutes, unless New York has something to say about it, and one thinks they might.
Yep, they definitely can. I mean, they've played it up this whole game. The second half has been different for them. So, hey, let's give them a chance. They've been playing really well.
And a foul in dangerous territory as Bezecourt hit by David. And now a big old opportunity for New York Red Bulls, too. New York playing their 3rd game in a week, 7 days. Looking forward, they'll play 3 in the next 28. Enormous that they come away with a point here.
Most likely Bezecourt will swing it in for Schmoll. Actually, no.
It's Basulovic. They decide to go short. We had seen that play before, Bezecourt going for Schmoll.
Correct.
Stoikov unable to keep it. Gem lifting it downfield. Allen chipping it. Just off on that last pass, and Gorick will hold it for as long as he can.
That's frustrating for Allen. I mean, I saw his intention. He wanted to lay it off for the incoming attacker, but unfortunately it was a bad touch. Those are the moments that you hopefully you don't regret. I mean, properly trapping the ball, maybe cutting the ball back, setting up your midfielder coming in for a shot.
The St. Louis technical box has gotten busy again. Basulovic and now Bezecourt. And another foul. This time it's the man on the yellow card. And the Dragon Stoikov. Well, Bezecourt, he's got that famed left foot.
Yeah, at this point, you're going to lay it off in the box. I mean, you obviously going to chip it in. Hopefully someone comes off a rebound and you get some opportunity to shoot.
Bezecourt headed out. Here's the chance to shoot. It's Lewis. It pops over. It took a deflection and a corner coming. Lewis is sprinting over. He wants it himself. Wow,
Exciting.
You nailed that too.
Oh yeah, exciting minutes at the end of the game here. I want Flemings to have an opportunity to trap the ball and maybe get a shot on goal. Really spice up the game here.
Lewis will cede to Basulovic. Basulovic, service, Schmoll. It comes down to Abador, the save by Gorick. Still loose.
Connected so well there on that shot. Najem worked really, really hard today. Look at that replay. Great attempt here.
And a good save by Gorick as well. And New York swarming now. Bezecourt taking on the whole defense, slipping it over to Flemings. And a foul, and Flemings was really looking for advantage.
Yeah, that advantage would have kicked in nicely there for him. Let's see if this works out for them, this free kick. It's always dangerous when you have players like Bezecourt hitting the ball, and this is much closer this time. So Flemings, players like Schmoll coming out from the back, hopefully they get a connect here.
What kind of ball do you play here?
In-swinger with the left foot, chipped it into maybe the 6-yard line. Sorry, penalty
spot
line,
there?
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Looking about 10, 12 yards away. 89th minute. Bezecourt winds it. Ball pops up into the air. O'Toole kept it. O'Toole fires. Bezecourt coming over to try and keep it for New York. He's sprinting back after the ball. Plenty of time left in this one if you're New York. Lifted into the box and just over Bilyeu, who could have been the hometown hero in his return.
You got a nail biter here, Mike. Look at this crowd. They're crunching up around the box, ready to scrum the field right when this whistle blows.
What a game we've gotten here tonight. Rudolph just the latest in a long line of great opportunities, great goals. 84th minute, go ahead, finish. St. Louis up 3-2. Sulovich, Flemings. That bounces around. Bjorman kicks it right back out to Abador.
That's what that turf field does for you. A lot of bounces on that ball. It's difficult to control sometimes.
Allen had a cross here that was the go-ahead goal at the time, back in the 58th minute. And Lewis trying to counter and knock some time off the clock as well. 3 minutes of hot shots stoppage.
That's exactly what St. Louis needs to do now. The last final minutes, hold on to the ball, create some attacking plays, but don't get loosely in the defensive area. You have to make sure that they don't completely decide on counters. Hold the ball well, pass it to the midfield, give it to a player like David who holds the ball well. Look for your attackers, look for Angulo who knows how to hold the ball well as well. And potentially get a shot on goal. He hasn't had much activity in the second half, but he's definitely someone you want to give the ball to at this point in the game.
For now, New York gets the ball back as they weren't able to find anybody to keep it. Alvarez, Angulo, that target. Off of Stoikov, still 2 minutes of added time, which will feel like an eternity to fans at Toyota Stadium tonight. Could they be off on their third game unbeaten to start? Moreover, 2 consecutive 3-2 wins with a heart-stopping finish from St. Louis. And now Loro's going to come up and take the free kick. Everybody forward now.
Oh, yeah. That's typical. And if there's a corner kick, he's going to go in for the header as well.
Laurel. Coming up, O'Toole. Plays it wide. Bilyeu. Long throw, ball ricochets out. It's O'Toole who fires. It's just over the bar. That could have been one of the most remarkable goals of the year so far.
That was definitely a viable attempt here. Great volley strike, left-footed. Just got just a little over it. Unfortunately, that would have been a dangerous shot on goal.
Coming into the year, he had 4 shots in his career.
Quality over quantity.
And he did have a goal, it should be noted.
Yep.
Still 20 seconds left here. If Red Bull can get the ball back, maybe they can get upfield just one more time. Schmoll wins it. Vasulovic. That's blasted long for St. Louis.
Which is exactly what they need to do in the last few seconds. Just hit the ball upstream, hopefully chase it, keep it in possession, kill down the clock.
3 points, a 3-2 win as they come back. They trailed in the 58th, 2 quick goals from New York, and they pick up a 3-2 win with Rudolph scoring in the 84th. Albert, what a finish.
Exciting game. Back and forth all game. We had goals right in the first few minutes. We had, obviously, lead-ups with New York, but excellent effort from St. Louis. Incredible match.
We wrap it up when we return. St. Louis a 3-2 win, and Rudolph, the local, is the hero.
everywhere you look. There's no place like Hollywood. Hollywood Casino St. Louis.
Stop living with joint pain. Take the first step at mercy.net/knee pain.
What's my favorite thing about the Fun Wrap 4? Has great handling. It's street cleaning day.
2 home games, 2 3-2 wins with game winners in the final 10 minutes. St. Louis will be on the road at Pittsburgh and Cincinnati next, but April 22nd against Charlotte. You better expect to be here because it should be a sellout. As St. Louis a 3-2 win over New York Red Bulls 2. Mike Watts, Albert Munoz. Let's take a look back at the first half highlights. And when you begin this game with a goal in the 4th minute, you're probably going, yeah, I think this is going to be a good day for St. Louis.
You're definitely going to be riding high for the first few minutes after that. But essentially, you might get complacent, and this is essentially what happened to St. Louis. They scored a goal immediately right in the first few minutes. And as we see here, this is the opportunity that Valesky created for himself, put the pressure on the defender, and he capitalized on that opportunity.
Beats Bilyeu, and the reigning USL Player of the Week slots it by Loro, and it's a quick 1-0 lead for St. Louis. St. Louis FC really did carry that momentum for much of the first half. It was a little bit quiet in the stadium early, and boy, did that change in a hurry. Najem firing this in, Velo nearly leveling the score in the first half.
Right. Something happened in that locker room talk at halftime because Red Bulls really came out a different team in the second half. As you see here, Bezecourt with the first pass of the game in the second half created an opportunity for Velo, and look at this beautiful, beautiful finish by Allen.
That in the 52nd minute, Brandon Allen, the reigning USL MVP, slotting it past Dave Legoric. And all of a sudden, 1-1. New York's got the momentum, though, and they turn it around 6 minutes later.
Allen with a beautiful cross here, straight into the head of Bezecourt, who was on fire. The players just assisting, scoring. I mean, he could do it all at this point. Beautiful cross, beautiful goal.
So 58th minute, it's 2-1 in favor of New York Red Bulls 2, and it looked like they weren't going to be settling with that. Perfect move by Bezecourt and nearly the finish.
Yep, he almost scored his second of the night, but that would have been a beautiful finish. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. The post was against him in that night.
Is it the follow-up shot also off the mark from David Najem? Meanwhile, you move forward. Valesky earns the penalty, question mark?
That was a penalty, and it was a great finish by Angulo. I mean, classy finish, classy player, perfectly placed goal. And then off the last shot of the game, basically, we have Rudolph come in from the bench, and he basically scores the game winner.
84th minute, what a finish. And for the second time in 2 games in Fenton, Missouri, fans go home happy with a great finish right at the death, as this St. Louis team has a real feeling about them now. They knocking off the reigning champions 3-2. You take a look at full time, and possession ends up about even. The shots on target are even. St. Louis just took advantage more than New York did.
Exactly. Tight game overall. Possession, shots. At the end of the day, it comes down to 1 goal, and that's what defined this game.
So New York, coming off this game, will look forward to playing Orlando City B at Montclair State on the 14th. For St. Louis, they look forward to a couple road games. They're home next on the 22nd of April. For producer Abe Aponte, director Miranda McCormick, our entire Vista World Link crew, Albert Munoz, I'm Mike Watts. The Luligans got exactly what they paid for again. Another thrilling finish in St. Louis. And in a week of heartbreak for St. Louis fans, it ends with claps. It ends with a victory. Seth Rudolph is the hero. St. Louis 3, New York 2. Good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent from the United Soccer League.